What if the reason you feel stuck, unmotivated, or numb has nothing to do with your willpower and everything to do with your chemistry? Seriously, have you ever asked yourself, why do I feel this way when nothing's really wrong? You wake up tired, drift through the day foggy, and no matter how hard you try, you can't quite shake the heaviness. So you blame your job, your phone, the chaos of life. But what if the problem is deeper than stress or screen time? What if your brain is quietly starving for something it desperately needs, but no one ever taught you how to give it? Dopamine, the overlooked, misunderstood chemical behind motivation, joy, and emotional resilience. When it's balanced, you feel alive, engaged, clear. But when it's not, everything feels off. Here's the good news. You're not broken, and this isn't permanent. You just need a reset, a return to rhythm. Not with hacks, but with wisdom. Let me show you how. Move to awaken your mind and motivation. Ever feel like everything is just harder? Even the little things, getting out of bed, answering a message, folding the laundry, feel like you're dragging your body through wet cement. Like your energy got up and left without leaving a note. Now picture this. You take a short walk, nothing intense, just a slow stroll around the block or maybe barefoot across your living room floor. Suddenly, your chest feels lighter. Your breath deepens. Your mind clears, even just a little. That shift, that's dopamine. That's your brain waking up to motion. See, movement isn't just physical, it's chemical. Every time you move, you send a signal to your nervous system that says, hey, we're still alive. We're still in this. And no, it doesn't need to be a 10,000-step challenge or some gym-fueled hustle. Stoic wisdom knew better. Even Clenches, one of the early Stoics, believed physical labor was a path to mental clarity. He hauled water through the night and studied by day, not because he had to, but because movement gave his mind sharpness. The point isn't performance, it's rhythm. It's showing your body that you're willing to participate in life even gently. Because when you're feeling low, that's usually the first thing you stop doing. You sit, you scroll, you freeze. But ironically, movement is the one thing that can actually bring you back. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be fast. It just has to be real. So start where you are. Stand up, stretch your arms, roll your shoulders, walk outside and feel the air touch your skin. Let your feet connect with the earth. Yes, even the cold kitchen tiles. And do it not to prove anything. Do it to reconnect. Do it to remember that motion is truth. Because a body in motion tells the mind, we're not stuck, we're starting. And sometimes that one step is enough to begin again. Eat to feel clear, not just full. Let's be honest. When stress hits or emotions start bubbling up, what's the first thing we reach for? It's not silence. It's not stillness. It's food. Not because we're truly hungry, but because we're overwhelmed, anxious, lonely, tired. That quick bite, something sweet, salty, creamy. It's a dopamine hit, a temporary escape, a moment of quiet in the storm. But here's the truth we don't talk about enough. Every bite you take is sending a message to your brain, not just about energy, but about stability, about safety, about whether your mind can stay focused or fall apart by midday. Because food is more than fuel, it's chemistry. Real nourishment foods rich in protein, healthy fats, and amino acids like tyrosine actually helps your brain create dopamine, the kind that supports clarity, focus, steady emotions, long-term resilience. But when we eat on impulse, chasing comfort in a bag of chips or late-night sweets, we're not feeding our future, we're feeding our fog. We feel better for 10 minutes and worse for the rest of the day. The Stoics wouldn't have talked about neurotransmitters, no, but they understood the cost of overindulgence. Seneca called it voluntary madness, and he was right, because anything we do to numb without awareness eventually turns against us. So here's the real question, not what should I eat to look better, but what food helps me think better, feel steady, stay awake in my life. Start there. That's self-respect. That's wisdom in action. Imagine this. You begin your day with protein, greens, and water before the chaos, before the scroll. You've just told your nervous system, I choose stability over stimulation. And your body listens. Your cravings quiet down. Your emotions settle. You feel anchored. But contrast that with skipping meals, binging late at night, or letting stress pick your plate. You wake up foggy, your blood sugar crashes, and suddenly you're chasing dopamine through snack screens and short tempers, not because you're lazy, but because your brain is trying to fix what your food didn't provide. And that cycle, it's exhausting. So next time you find yourself standing in front of the fridge, just pause, breathe, ask, am I actually hungry or just avoiding something? Maybe you need fuel, maybe you need rest, maybe you just need to sit with what you're feeling. But know this, you're not weak for reaching for comfort. You're just wired for survival. And now you get to choose differently. Feed your body like someone who wants to feel. Feed your mind like someone who's healing. Feed your future like someone who's ready to show up fully. Because clarity isn't just found in books or meditation. Sometimes it's found on your plate. Sleep, like your sanity, depends on it. Let's be real. We treat sleep like an afterthought, something we might get to after the emails, the scrolling, the binge watching, the overthinking. We push it to the side in the name of productivity, pretending we can catch up later. But here's the thing. You can't out-hustle biology. You can't override your nervous system with caffeine and sheer willpower. Because without real restorative sleep, your brain can't function the way it's meant to. And it's not just about feeling rested. When you skip sleep or disrespect it, dopamine production drops. Your motivation disappears. Your emotional resilience tanks. Suddenly, everything feels heavier. Every small problem becomes a mountain. You snap more. You spiral faster. Why? Because your brain is trying to run a full life on an empty battery. Sleep isn't optional. It's essential. It's your body's sacred reset button. While you sleep, your brain clears out toxins. Your hormones rebalance, and your dopamine levels begin to restore. Without that cycle, you don't just feel tired, you feel lost. And the Stoics, they may not have had access to neuroscience, but they understood this. Marcus Aurelius, as disciplined as he was, still believed in rhythm, in preparing the mind through rest. He knew fatigue clouds reason. Rest sharpens it. So, if you've been treating sleep like a weakness, let this be your wake-up call. Sleep isn't laziness. It's leadership from within. It's how you show up for yourself before showing up for the world. And no, it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need 8 flawless hours. What you need is intention, a wind-down ritual, a consistent rhythm, a boundary that says, "This time is mine." Dim the lights. Put the phone down. Let your body return to stillness, because a tired mind complains. A rested mind creates. Ask yourself, what would change if I treated sleep like I treat my goals? What if I protected it, prioritized it, respected it? Because the truth is, no morning routine, no self-help book, no motivational quote can replace the clarity that comes from deep sleep. So tonight, give yourself the grace to pause, not because you're escaping the world, but because you're preparing to meet it stronger. Rest isn't retreat, it's reinforcement. Make sleep sacred, because when you do, you don't just wake up, you rise. Find strength in stillness. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you were truly alone with nothing in your hands, no screen in your face, no task demanding your focus, just you, sitting, breathing, no noise, no numbing, just presence? For most of us, that kind of stillness feels almost unnatural, like something's missing, or worse, like something inside us might rise up if we don't keep moving. But what if that stillness isn't something to fear? What if it's exactly what your mind is begging for? See, in a world constantly pulling at your attention, algorithms, alerts, agendas, silence becomes a kind of rebellion, a powerful return to self. The Stoics knew this well. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." And he didn't mean that poetically. He meant it literally. Stillness isn't about escaping the world. It's about becoming strong enough to meet it from within. When you sit in silence, whether it's 5 minutes of breath work, a mindful walk, or just sipping your morning tea without distraction, you're not doing nothing. You're rewiring your brain. You're calming your nervous system. You're letting dopamine restore itself, not from stimulation, but from presence. And that's where the shift happens. In that space between thoughts, you stop reacting. You start observing. And in that observation comes clarity. You begin to see your emotions for what they are, messages, not commands. You stop running from discomfort and start understanding it. You stop drowning in the noise and start listening to the quiet truth beneath it. It's not always comfortable. Stillness can stir things up. Old wounds, unprocessed feelings, forgotten dreams. But that's okay, because you can't heal what you won't face, and you can't find peace until you stop chasing distraction. So today, give yourself permission to pause, not to meditate perfectly, not to impress anyone with your mindfulness, but to come home to yourself. Sit, breathe, listen. Let the noise fall away. Let the truth rise. Because stillness isn't the absence of movement. It's the presence of meaning. And once you learn to sit with yourself, truly sit, you'll realize you were never lost. You were just never quiet long enough to hear the way back. Build momentum with tiny wins. You know that tiny spark you feel when you check something off your list. That little yes inside your chest, even if it's just taking out the trash or replying to one email, that's dopamine. That's your brain whispering, we're moving forward. See, your brain doesn't need grand victories. It just needs evidence that you're not stuck. But here's the trap. Most of us wait until the big moment, the weight loss, the job, landed the full transformation before we let ourselves feel proud. By then, we're often burned out, drained, already thinking about the next goal. The Stoics knew better. Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. Not what's dramatic, not what looks good on social media, just what's next, what's honest, what's aligned. So here's the shift. Don't wait to celebrate. Celebrate early. Celebrate often. Celebrate real. Set micro goals. Drink a glass of water. Write 50 words. Take one conscious breath instead of snapping. Then pause. Acknowledge it. Let that small win land. Let it build. Because every time you follow through, even in the smallest way, you tell your nervous system, I can trust myself. I follow through. I'm becoming the person I said I would be. And that's how momentum works, not in one giant leap, but in a series of quiet, intentional steps that rewire your brain for progress, not perfection. So today, ask yourself, what's one thing I can do, just one that moves me toward who I want to be? Then do it and honor it, because the journey isn't built on massive effort. It's built on consistency and small repeated choices. Become who you are. That's not self-help fluff. That's neuroscience. That's Stoicism. That's how real change begins. Let music heal what words cannot. You ever play a song and boom, everything changes. Your posture softens. Your breath slows. Or maybe your energy lifts like someone just flipped a switch inside you. That's not magic. That's dopamine. That's your brain lighting up in response to rhythm, melody, memory, and meaning all at once. See, music isn't just sound. It's emotional medicine. It bypasses logic and speaks straight to your soul. Sometimes it says what you don't know how to say. Sometimes it feels what you're not ready to feel. And sometimes it frees what you didn't even know was stuck. The science is clear. Music activates the reward center of the brain, increases dopamine, reduces stress, and boosts focus. But this isn't just about research. It's about real-life relief. The Stoics didn't write about playlists, sure, but they lived in rhythm. They believed in tuning the inner world to match the harmony of nature. And what is music, if not harmony, made human? So here's the practice. Don't just let music happen in the background. Use it on purpose. Curate soundtracks for your states. Something grounding for mornings. Something reflective for winding down. Something raw and honest for when your heart needs to crack open just a little. You don't need to fix your mood. You just need to meet it with sound that understands. Because healing doesn't always start with a breakthrough. Sometimes it starts with a single note, a familiar chord, a voice that reminds you you're not alone in this. So next time you're overwhelmed, stuck, or just numb, before reaching for your phone to scroll, put on a song that feels true. Close your eyes. Breathe. Let the music do its quiet, powerful work. Because sometimes the most profound therapy doesn't come from words. It comes from feeling, and music knows the way. Choose people who recharge your soul. Let's talk about something we all feel but rarely say out loud. Some people drain you, not because they're bad, but because your nervous system can feel when you're not truly seen. When you're constantly walking on eggshells, shrinking to fit, or pretending to be fine just to keep the peace. And over time, that emotional disconnection becomes chemical. Your dopamine dips, your motivation fades, your energy spirals. Because your brain doesn't just respond to stress, it responds to who's in the room. Now flip it. Think about the people who light you up, the ones you can sit with in silence and still feel understood, the ones who don't try to fix you, change you, or rush your emotions, but see you, really see you. Those relationships, they're medicine. They raise dopamine, strengthen your emotional core, and remind you who you are without trying. Seneca once wrote, "To be understood is one of the greatest gifts of friendship." And he wasn't talking about some picture-perfect bond. He was talking about connection that's real, mutual, grounding. So here's the challenge and the invitation. Start noticing how you feel after every interaction, not during after. Do you feel lighter or heavier, clearer or more confused, grounded or quietly ashamed? Your body knows. Your mind keeps the score. It's not about judgment. It's about discernment. Because not everyone deserves access to your inner world. And that doesn't make you cold. That makes you wise. Protect your peace. Curate your connections like you're building the architecture of your mind, because you are. And just as important, be that presence for others. The one who listens deeply, who doesn't interrupt or compare, who brings calm instead of chaos. Because relationships shape your brain. And in a world full of noise, one genuine connection can change everything. So ask yourself, who makes me feel like myself? Who lifts me without effort? Who challenges me gently without breaking me? Choose those people. Walk with them. Grow with them. Because one real friend who restores you is worth more than 100 who don't even see you. Soak in sunlight. Reclaim your energy. When was the last time you let the sun really touch your skin, not rushing to your car, not glancing out a window, but actually stepped outside and just stood there, not to do anything, just to be? Because here's the truth. This isn't poetic. It's biological. Sunlight triggers dopamine production. It wakes up your brain, regulates your mood, resets your internal clock. Especially in the morning, that first dose of light tells your body, it's time. You're alive. Let's begin. But most of us, we sleep past sunrise. We live behind walls and glass. We spend our best hours staring at glowing rectangles and then wonder why we feel foggy, restless, uninspired. That's not weakness. That's misalignment. You weren't built for artificial light and artificial rhythms. You're wired for the real thing, for sky, for air, for the quiet power of nature. The Stoics knew this long before science confirmed it. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his meditations in a closed room. He found his clarity beneath the stars in the stillness of open space. Nature wasn't a backdrop. It was the classroom. So now your turn. Before the day rushes in, step outside, even just for 5 minutes. Let your eyes meet the sky without sunglasses. Let your skin feel the breeze, even if it's cold. Let your breath slow down, not because you're performing calm, but because you're returning to it. No notifications, no distractions, just light, just presence, just you recharging in the simplest, most ancient way. And here's what happens. Your focus sharpens, your mood lifts, your sleep improves, your thoughts feel a little more spacious, a little more kind. You remember that you don't need a breakthrough to feel better. You just need to step into the light. Because the world outside your screen, the one with wind and sun and silence, that's where your nervous system heals. That's where you feel your life again. So tomorrow morning, don't reach for your phone first. Reach for the sky. Let it remind you you're part of something bigger, and that life in all its messy beauty is still waiting right outside your door. Make space for what lights you up. Let me ask you something personal. When did you stop doing things just because they made you feel alive, not because they were productive, not because they checked a box, but because they lit you up? For too many of us, joy got scheduled out. Somewhere between meetings, responsibilities, and trying to be enough, we stopped doing the things that once made us forget time even existed. And now, we tell ourselves we'll get back to it someday. When the work is done, when we've earned a break, when life finally slows down. But here's the truth. If you don't make space for what fuels you, you will burn out doing what drains you. Your passions, whether it's writing, painting, gardening, dancing, playing guitar, or just getting lost in a good book, those aren't luxuries. They're lifelines. They're the spaces where dopamine flows not from hustle, but from harmony. Where your mind sharpens, your spirit softens, and your whole system says, yes, this is me. Stoicism gets misunderstood sometimes as cold or joyless, but that's not what it teaches. The Stoics believed in eudaimonia, a life fully lived, a soul in alignment with its nature, and part of that is joy, flow, fulfillment, the deep kind, not from escape, but from expression. So stop waiting. Don't ask the world for permission to come alive. Give it to yourself. Start small. 15 minutes. One sketch, one song, one page in your journal, and protect it like it matters, because it does. Not everything that's good for you looks serious. Sometimes the most healing thing you can do is play, is create, is remember what it feels like to be you without needing a reason. So ask yourself today, what did I used to love that I have abandoned, and what tiny spark of it can I bring back now? Because when you stop abandoning your joy, you stop abandoning yourself. Let go to grow stronger inside. Let's be honest, most of us don't actually release stress, we store it. In our shoulders, in our jaw, in our stomach, in restless sleep and half-held breaths. We don't even notice. We walk around carrying tension like armor, thinking it makes us strong. But here's the paradox. The more you try to resist stress, the more it controls you. Because what isn't expressed gets suppressed. And what suppressed builds, festers, leaks out sideways into irritability, anxiety, numbness, burnout. The Stoics understood this better than we give them credit for. Epictetus didn't say ignore the storm. He said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. Not reaction as suppression, but as conscious response. And that response, it starts with allowing yourself to feel fully, then choosing to let go deliberately. So what does that look like? It's movement, a walk, a stretch, a dance. It's breath work, a long exhale after a long day. It's crying without shame. It's journaling without editing. It's praying, meditating, or just putting your hand on your chest and saying, "This too belongs." It doesn't have to be dramatic. It just has to be honest. Because every time you release, you teach your nervous system, I'm not in danger. I don't have to hold it all. I can be soft and still be strong. Make it a ritual, not a last resort, but a daily reset. 5 minutes to exhale what you've been carrying all week. Not because you're falling apart, but because you're wise enough to know you don't need to keep it all together. You just need to keep letting go. Because real strength isn't tight fists and clenched jaws. It's open hands. It's a quiet heart. It's the kind of presence that doesn't break under pressure because it knows how to release it. And when you do, when you stop fighting your feelings and start flowing with them, your energy returns, your clarity sharpens, your emotional resilience rises from the ashes of everything you finally allowed yourself to feel. So breathe, exhale, let it move, let it go, and come home to the calm that was waiting underneath it all. Let this be your reminder. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are simply out of rhythm. And dopamine, it's not the goal. It's the signal. A signal that your body, your mind, your soul are craving reconnection. Not more noise, not more hustle, but clarity, stillness, you. The Stoics didn't chase happiness. They practiced alignment. They returned again and again to what was essential. Simplicity, discipline, presence, peace. You can do the same, not through intensity, but intention. Not through fixing everything, but honoring the basics deeply daily. Move, breathe, nourish, rest, reflect. Choose the life that feels true, not just loud. Because strength doesn't always look like power. Sometimes it looks like consistency, stillness, joy. Sometimes it sounds like a quiet "I'm okay," whispered from within. So, if this message stirred something in you, if it helped you remember what matters, share it. Not just to help the channel grow, but because someone in your life might need this more than you know. Like it, not for the algorithm, but as a small gesture of gratitude to yourself for making space to pause and reflect and subscribe. Because on the Stoic path, we walk this journey together. One breath, one habit, one powerful choice at a time. You're not chasing a better life. You're returning to it. And I'll be right here to remind you every step of the way.